But they are doing a concerted effort to sort of continue this genocidal denial machine that they continue. And most recently, we saw that Congressman Adam Schiff is being targeted by the Turkish lobby, and they're raising money for his opponent. They're fundraising for his opponent Charles Hahn for Congressman Schiff to lose his seat. Right. Do you think they'll be successful, or is this just a concerted effort?
They'll be successful in putting money into Charles Hahn's pockets, which he can take with him when he loses and moves on. Adam Schiff isn't going anywhere. He's going to win. He should win.
Are they targeting him? And it's clear they're targeting him because of his support of Armenian American
and they've become, the Turkish lobby has become a little more clever about the way they operate, and they're trying to establish grassroots. They don't really have them, but they're sort of PR-funded, public relations, lobby-funded grassroots to give the appearance that there's this groundswell of American Turks that are active in politics, when it's simply not the case. And so they're going after the Adam Schiffs, in time they'll maybe go after the Brad Shermans, Frank Pallones, and others, to show that they also have a grassroots and they can play, quote, that game. But the difference is stark. Yeah. The Armenian American community isn't doing this because they're getting paid to do this. The Armenian American community is doing this because it's the right thing to do. There's nothing more right for us to do than to have the world properly condemn genocide and to prevent an insidious cover-up of the most heinous crime known to humankind. How can that be good for humanity? It's not right for Armenian Americans, and it's not right for the world. And if you allow that to happen, then you open the door for just about anything else, because I don't think there's anything worse that one people can do to another. It is the worst crime known to humanity.
And speaking of which, there's a genocide going on in Darfur at the moment, and during the presidential debates, the subject of Darfur came up, and Senator McCain and Senator Obama debated about what the United States will do if they are in office. So sort of genocide has been thrown into this campaign.
We'll take the example of Darfur. Each generation thinks they're the most advanced and the most civilized, let's say, and we look back at, let's say, 100 years ago and look at them and say how naive people were and how primitive, and probably at that time 100 years ago they looked back 100 years and said the same thing. But the fact is, in the year 2008, with all the sophistication, with all the information that flows freely from 5 seconds, someone takes a video cam of what's going on in Rwanda, and I can watch it in Van Nuys or in Sherman Oaks or Pasadena. And for all that technology and all that understanding of the human condition, that genocide is happening, and the international community is doing nothing about it. And I can firmly believe, it's my opinion, that the fact that the world has not properly condemned the Armenian genocide, characterized it as a genocide, and allowed this foolishness and this cover-up to go on for so long has clearly opened up the doors to allow others to start genocidal campaigns, by the way, successfully perpetrating genocide campaigns. Yeah. I mean, in this day and age, to think that with all the might we have militarily, not only in the United States, but in other places, diplomatically, economically, that can continue to go on is appalling. It means that the human race has fallen short. And it all traces back to allowing something to go on too long, and that is the denial and the cover-up of the Armenian genocide. It's all linked.
It's a contemporary issue, so to speak.
Yeah, Samantha Power's book.
A Problem from Hell.
A Problem from Hell. And it's a problem then, and it's a problem now. The problem didn't end. Just because it's 90-odd years old doesn't mean that the problem has stopped. The problem is still around. 90 years is not a long time in human history. There's still people walking the face of the earth that felt on their skin those horrible, horrible days, the indignity, the horrors, the humiliation of the Armenian genocide, who 90 years later can't talk about it without welling up or becoming emotionally overwhelmed. That tells you something about the horrors of that crime.
Of course, and we hope with the new administration there will be some justice to the Armenian genocide. So in this next week of elections, there's only a few days left, a week exactly from today. What can we expect in this historic election, as many like to call it?
Well, one thing I'm hopeful of, and I think we're seeing a little evidence of that, is people becoming a little more politicized and taking control of their life. And you see that with a lot of early voting. And you see that in a lot of states which allow early voting. It's very progressive. In a lot of countries in the world, one election day is a national holiday, or they allow elections to go on over 2 days in order to ensure that more people participate. That's the whole point of democracy, is to participate in government, have the people's voices heard, have their, their will manifested in the government. So I do think that you may see an unprecedented number of voters this year, which is always a good thing. Now, the only sad part of it is, from my point of view, is that the sort of public relations firms have taken over the campaigns, and because of all the images you get in the internet and all the images you get on TV now, there's not a lot of substance to what is being said. So what becomes kind of catchy and repeated in elections is what Joe the plumber or Bill Ayers. I mean, they immediately conjure up ideas, negative usually, rather than talking about substance. And one good thing about Senator Obama is he's a man of great substance,
right.
and Joe Biden as well. But I mean, there are very few people with the eloquence and the intelligence of Senator Obama, and that augurs well for the American people should he become president.
Well, it's definitely been a very interesting elections campaign, and I think it's going to be a very interesting election day. So thank you for joining us, Vicken.
My pleasure.
It's been great having you here, and thank you for joining us, and have a good night.